Hello everyone, and welcome to another Magic: The Gathering gameplay video. Today I'm going to show you another one of my favorite red-blue decks. Last time we did Turbo Mill, and this time we're going to take a look at the Surge deck. And this uses the Surge mechanic, which is pretty cool. Which basically says the second card you play per turn, you can pay the surge cost instead of the normal cost. So Fall of the Titans, you can see the surge there at the bottom in the text. You can do it for 1 and X, 1 red and an X. And the surge cost is much cheaper than the regular cost of cards. So what's really cool about this deck is that it's great in a two-headed giant, because Surge counts for your opponent, not your opponent, your buddy or ally playing a card. So we've got a bunch of really cheap spells here to trigger some various synergies, as you'll see in a minute. Expedite is great for gaining haste, drawing a card, but mostly these are to trigger things like Thing in the Ice, which also was in my Turbo Mill deck. It's great in any kind of deck that's got a lot of spells. Next we have the Storm Chaser Mage, which is blue-red, and he's got prowess, so he's pretty strong, pretty fast, and also haste and flying. Good blocker also. Brute Strength, another cheap instant spell to give trample and a bit more damage there in case you want to push some damage through. Chandra is in this deck just for fun. She's pretty hard to transform, but if you can, she can close out the game very quickly. Here we have Ruin Diver, which is great in blue and red, and this one is a wizard, and whenever you cast your second spell you draw a card. And this deck is all about casting the second spell, because casting the second spell is what you want to be doing. We've got Fevered Visions again, which is another one that was in the Turbo Mill deck. It works great here too, because this is still black and blue and we want to draw cards. Here's another of our Surge payoffs. You can pay this for its Surge cost. Once again, if you notice in some of these Surge cards, if you look at the explanation of Surge, it says if either you or a teammate plays a card, then you can play this card for its Surge cost. The Niblis of Frost is great for tapping down all the enemy creatures. Can get out of hand pretty quickly, actually, even though it's really weak and it's got a high mana cost. It's still pretty awesome. So here you can see the Surge cost if you or a teammate has cast another spell. So basically the second spell, but this also counts as a teammate for Surge. And so Surge is great in Two-Headed Giant, because if your pal or a partner, like I said, casts a spell, then you can cast any of your Surge spells for the Surge cost. Docent of Perfection is great in this deck, since there's lots of spells we're casting and we're creating lots of 1/1 blue human wizard creature tokens. And then if you have 3 of those wizards, this transforms, and all your wizards have +2/+1, and you keep making 1/1 blue human wizards, which are going to be 3 2s instead of 1 1s. And if you noticed, I already went past a bunch of those. But this Ruin Diver is a wizard, and this Storm Chaser Mage is also a wizard. So there's already a bunch of wizards in the deck. Here's a 3/3 that you can play for 3 mana instead of 5 for its Surge cost. And so once again, this deck is all about Surge stuff. The Mirrorwing Dragon is a one-off that I hope I can show off. But this one's hilarious. It copies all your spells for a ridiculous card advantage. And if an opponent tries to kill this, like with a kill spell, that spell is duplicated and copied onto all of your opponent's creatures. So they'll basically kill all their creatures if they try to kill yours. The Embermaw Hellion isn't often used, but it's awesome in this deck. It deals an extra point of damage for any red source you control. And a lot of people are confused about this, but what's interesting is this does 1 extra damage for not only burn spells, but any red source. Like, for example, Fevered Visions is considered a red source because it's blue-red, so it does 3 damage instead of 2. Chandra is considered a red source, the Storm Chaser Mage is a red source, and all of these burn spells are also red sources. So you'd be surprised how deadly the Embermaw Hellion is, because all those red sources deal an extra point of damage. Not just burn, but any creature with a red symbol in its mana cost. And I've thrown Jace in here because, Jace is always fun to use. And then our last Surge card here is Crush of Tentacles, which you always want to play for its Surge cost, not its normal cost, even if you have the mana. That way you get an 8/8 blue octopus token and you pretty much clear the board. And so all the creatures of your opponents are all gone, but you're left with a giant octopus. Whereas if you play it for its full cost, which is more, it doesn't do anything but just clear the board. So you definitely want to have that octopus yourself. And then the mana base, of course, is the usual dual lands and some regular mountains and regular, whatever you call those water things. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into a few games here and see how the deck performs. And then, of course, as usual, I'll go ahead and do three showcasings, and then we'll have a 2-headed giant round, which will be a lot of fun because this deck really shines when you're using it in 2-headed giant. Because, say on turn 2, I could already be playing my Surge cards as long as my teammate, plays a spell first. So there's a lot of fun strategy with this, especially if you do it double Surge, like you and your teammate are both playing the Surge deck. You can play off of each other, and it's a lot of fun that way. So for now, I'm not under too much pressure, so just playing out my tap lands here. I'm fine to take one, per turn here. It's no big deal. And we got our Niblis of Frost, which is a little expensive. It usually doesn't survive long. But, yeah, a lot of these are instants. I want to try and keep them for the Surge cost. But if you are playing this deck, solo, then of course you need to play something else. You need to play a spell first, and then you can play something for its Surge cost. So this deck is a lot more fun in 2-headed giant. I don't really want to discard my lands, but I want to keep all the stuff that I've got in my hand. So for now we're just taking 1 from the opponent, and in the next turn I'll probably go ahead and play this Niblis of Frost out. Although it is kind of risky because it is kind of a high priority target. The opponent really, if the opponent has a kill card, they'll kill it right away because, yeah, the Niblis of Frost can get out of hand pretty quick. You can pretty much tap down your entire opponent's army of creatures, and it taps them down for 2 turns. And it also has prowess, so it gets big for every spell you cast as well. So I'll just go ahead and tap this one down and tap this one down because we cast a spell. And draw a card. Of course, if I cast that for the surge cost, it would have only cost 2 instead of 3. But you have to play a spell first. And I wanted to save these cut spells for something bigger. Kind of a waste of 2/2s. Well, that's bigger, but that's not a creature I can deal with. So, yeah, Liliana is kind of a problem. We did draw a Docent, so that's nice. We'll go ahead and get that going and maybe expedite it. So we can tap something down again here. Freeze it for a couple turns. We'll create a wizard. Draw a card and gain haste. Sadly, I'm going to have to attack Liliana with both of these in order to take it out, but I think it's a little risky to leave that planeswalker on the field. She can create a lot of zombie tokens each turn. But we're still not taking very much damage here, so your 1/1 wizard tokens are valuable, as I'll soon show you, because that Docent can transform and all the wizards are going to be much, much bigger. And yeah, we got plenty of awesome spells here to play, so I guess I'll go ahead and cut one of these cheap enemies, and we'll tap the 5/5, freeze him down, create another wizard, and we get a 4/4 prowess trigger. And let's go ahead and do Fall of the Titans. I'll show this for its surge cost. I could do it for 3, but I'll just go ahead and do it for 2. So these two enemies will take 2 damage each. I could have done 3 damage to each. You can also do it to the opponent's face. So Fall of the Titans is quite nice. And we now have 3 wizards. So our Docent of Perfection has transformed into the final iteration. And so yeah, any spell we cast now is going to make 3/2 flying wizards. And as I showed previously in the deck list, there are other wizards in this deck, and if you play them, they'll automatically have that +2/+1 in flying. So it's pretty powerful. But yeah, our opponent's pretty dead here. I can double freeze this 4/4. As you notice, I've been tapping everything down, making some more tokens here, drawing another card, and I can finish him off here. Since he's a 4/4, we'll tap him down again because I got nothing else to tap down. But yeah, you could see if the opponent had a lot of creatures, I could just be tapping them all down for multiple turns. And we just keep creating all of these 3/2 wizards. So nice quick win there with the Surge deck. Let's take a look at another one. I'd like to show off the Mirror-Winged Dragon, but sadly in this format I can only have 1 copy of it in the entire deck, so it's kind of rare to draw it, but once you get the Mirror-Winged Dragon going, it's pretty hilarious. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully I can kind of show that off. But I'm keeping this hand because I've got Thing in the Ice, which is always a really good starting creature, and a couple good spells. You want to have some cheaper spells in hand when you're playing this single player. That way you can more easily trigger the surge costs. But as I'll show you in Two-Headed Giant, it's really easy to do surge because you just wait for your teammate to play something, or ask your teammate to play something, and then you can play any card in your hand for its surge cost. So once again, a surge is another mechanic that's really, really great with Two-Headed Giant format. It's still pretty fun, single player, but yeah, it's definitely better in Two-Headed Giant mode. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I don't really need to expedite this, but I wanted to pay the surge cost of this card with Jace on it so I can draw 2 more. The comparative analysis, which is a 4 mana cost otherwise, but its surge is cheaper. So yeah, you always want to play things for their surge cost if you can. Okay, so we got plenty of mana. This mage is a wizard, so let's put him out there. Once again, I can play this for its surge cost. Draw a couple more, and that's taking those counters away from the thing in the ice. And of course, the flyer has prowess, so I can go ahead and attack with it. It has haste and prowess, so it gets bigger for every spell you play. And like I mentioned, we've got lots of spells here. And yeah, probably take 3 damage here, but that's okay. Any spell I play at this point, a thing in the ice is going to transform, and that always just puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. So it's just a ridiculously powerful 2-drop. Alright, and Fevered Visions is a great draw too. Let's play that. We can play Fall of the Titans if we want. Get a prowess trigger. And once again, Fall of the Titans, you can target your opponent if you wish. But I'm going to go ahead and transform this, I think. Make sure if you're targeting something, you target your thing in the ice, because my Storm Chaser Mage, of course, went back to hand. I'll keep a Docent on top. Thank you very much. And just out of nowhere, attack for 10. I guess I could have replayed the Storm Chaser Mage there and gotten 1 extra point of damage in, since it does have haste. Oh, but it wouldn't have mattered. He had a sensor. But that's okay. There's more Storm Chaser Mages in the deck. So yeah, it looks like our opponent has a bunch of cancel cards in hand, interrupts and that sort of thing. But yeah, he's already in trouble. And he's going to have to be chump blocking this 7-8 for a while. Let's get the Docent going. Oh, yep, he had another cancel. That's okay too. I can actually just play this for its surge cost. Tap this, draw a card, and the game is over. So yeah, this thing in the ice, which becomes this Kraken horror, is no joke. Definitely wins me lots of games. Alright, let's have one more round here. Ooh, we have the Mirror Wing Dragon in our opening hand, so let me keep this. Even though we do have 2 tap lands, which is kind of annoying, but hopefully I can show off the Mirror Wing Dragon here. And Fevered Visions in an opening hand is always great too, because that's your card advantage. But yeah, we'll try this one more round, and after this we'll do a 2-headed giant game to show how this deck works there. And truly, it's a lot of fun. This is probably the most fun deck that you can have in 2-headed giant. Is the Surge mechanic. I don't think Magic Arena has any Surge cards in it yet. But once again, the Surge mechanic is better with a teammate. I mean, it is decent by yourself. As you can see, the deck is pretty powerful. I think red-blue is always a powerful combination anyway. It's always been a pretty powerful combination, color combination is red-blue. Well, this probably won't last long, but I'm going to go ahead and get this Nibless Frost out here. As you've seen, if it sticks around, it can be really powerful. Ooh, and a Docent too. Boy, got all the greats. So that's gonna get +1 and Death Touch, so can't really block that. Unless I want to trade, which I don't really want to. The Niblis of Frost is way too valuable. But usually it doesn't survive very long because it is quite threatening. And I can do 2 damage to his Planeswalker here. Probably not a big deal since the Nissa is not threatening. Oh boy, gotta get this thing in the ice out there. And then we can play this for its surge cost. Or I can just keep this tapped down and draw an extra card. I probably need to draw a land for the turn, so that's why I'm doing this. Nope. I was kind of hoping to draw a land there, since Expedite draws you an extra card. So kind of missed a land drop there, and another one. So got a lot of great cards in the hand. I don't really need 2 Docent of Perfections, but if you have 2 of them out there, yeah, it's pretty wild. They can both transform at once, and then you'll have a ton of huge wizard tokens, and it just gets out of hand really quick. So here we have an interesting choice. The Ruin Diver would be good to play because it'll draw me more cards, but I would have to draw a single mana, or I'd have to play a single mana spell to draw a card off of it, and I don't have any in hand. So I want to... I'm kind of unable to play 2 spells this turn, sadly. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap everything down and draw a card here with this Grip of the World. Oh, I was hoping for a land, and then I could have played a 2-drop, but no. But see, we're still doing pretty good. As you can see, I'm tapping down everything. Man, my goodness, no lands in sight anywhere. Gonna have to discard 2. Don't need a extra Fevered Visions or an extra Docent. I'm holding onto the Mirror Wing in the hopes that I can play it out here and show it off. But yeah, as you can see, the Niblis of Frost is really can be really annoying to play against, since it keeps tapping everything down. And yeah, my opponent's gonna die here before I even get this Mirrorwing Dragon going. Finally got our land. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut this guy because it's too tempting as a 2/4. We'll freeze the 2/2. I mean, I can actually end this in a number of ways. Guess I'll kill the 2/2 and tap down the 1/3 also. And never mind, I forgot my good old thing in the ice is going to transform and put everything back into my hand. That's something you got to watch out for. I often make that mistake. If I attack now, the game is over. So let me give the opponent one more turn. I sometimes like to do this, even though I have lethal on board. I like to see what the opponent would have done if they had one extra turn to live. So got rid of my Geist Blast out of the graveyard. That was a pretty good move. But yeah, I think Fevered Visions is just going to kill him here, sadly. But hey, at least we played the Mirrorwing Dragon, right? Playing Fall of the Titans for 0 doesn't really do much. But it does come up, actually. You can play Fall of the Titans for 0, and it actually, counts for prowess and things like transforming Thing in the Ice. So it can come up as a really useful single red surge card for 0 for X = 0. So yeah, he's replaying all his creatures here, but because of Fevered Visions, it's just going to kill him outright. Yeah, I can end this in a number of ways. Showing off the Jory Rune Diver, whenever you play the second spell, you draw a card, as I did just there, and she counts as your first spell too. So she's a great wizard to have in this deck, because what you're doing is playing 2 cards every turn as often as you can. Because that's what Surge is all about. Don't need another Niblis. Yeah, it looks like our opponent's just going to die from Fevered Vision, sadly. Next turn I could play Brute Strength on my Mirror Wing Dragon, and basically I would get 4 copies of it, and it would copy Brute Strength to all my creatures. So that's kind of the fun thing you can do with the Mirror Wing Dragon, but sadly didn't get to show it off here. Not sure why he's attacking, but I'm fine taking 2 in case he's got some kind of Death Touch trick. But yeah, Fevered Visions just drained him to death. So sadly didn't get to show the Mirror Wing Dragon, but maybe we can see the Mirror Wing Dragon in action here in a 2-headed giant game. So here we go, what you've been waiting for, a 2-headed giant round, playing with my teammate Wild Boar. And just for fun, to show you how this works, we're going to both do the Surge deck. So this is something that's really fun to do. If you both use the Surge deck, it's just really overpowered, and you can just play off of each other with the Surge mechanic, and it gives you a huge advantage over the opponent. So we're both going to be playing the Surge deck here, and this hand is a little iffy. And Wild Boar's hand is also kind of so-so, but it should work. I only have 1 red source, and he's only got 1 blue source. You want, if possible, 2 of each, of course. Okay, I think I'm good to go, at least on mana. Having Jace in the opener isn't the greatest either because of his high cost. But for example, if I play a 3 mana spell, then my partner Wild Boar here can play any of his Surge cards, which he has a couple of in his hand, like the Draw 3 card. So I can just play Geist Blast here, and you'll notice his Surge cards are now glowing blue in his hand. He decided to play out Chandra just to get her going, but he could have played the comparative analysis there for its Surge cost and drawn an extra 2. But right now, don't really need to draw extra cards because both of us have pretty good hands. And as always, I'll get the Niblis of Frost going as soon as I can, but in 2-headed giant, there's no guarantee that it's going to survive very long, because you've got 2 opponents and they've both probably got kill cards in their hand waiting for your key creatures. So he's got that annoying 4-3 again, and that 3-2 with Vigilance. So yeah, you definitely want to talk to your teammate about who plays a spell first. And if you both have a Surge card, you may want to talk and say, oh, okay, can you play a spell so that I can play this for its Surge? But it looks like he's going to ping his opponent and untap Chandra, so you can use Chandra again. So no Surge this turn, sadly. And he can't quite transform Chandra, but almost. If he had 1 red spell in hand, he could have done it. But sadly he didn't, so he's thinking about if maybe he should just ping the opponent now. He could have waited and done that during the opponent's turn, but definitely not going to block with Chandra, so... And I kind of need a spell in my hand. But yeah, this Chandra, when she transforms, is ridiculously powerful. And with the previously aforementioned Ember Maw Hellion, I mean, it just does so much damage, the game is over so quickly. So we're going to go ahead and take 4 here. Yeah, this 4-3 Minotaur can be quite annoying at the beginning of the game. And he's got another one of those 3-2s. Kind of surprised he didn't attack with it, since I guess he didn't want to trade it off. So I'll go ahead and enable Surge. So Wild Boar has quite a few Surge options now. You can see they're colored blue there. But it looks like he's going to play Geist Blast. Take out a 3-2, untap Chandra. But once again, he doesn't have another red spell in hand, sadly. Or else he could transform Chandra. But he's just going to keep pinging him there. And playing Fall of the Titans for X = 1 isn't really going to do much, so I'll just go ahead and play Brute Strength here. Probably here on my, well, yeah, it doesn't really matter, I guess, because I'll get the Prowess trigger anyway. We'll tap down his 3-2 with Vigilance, so Vigilance isn't really doing him any favors. And do 9 to his face. But yeah, Prowess is no joke. Both of these creatures have Prowess, and so every spell you play, they get +1/+1. And if my teammate had been playing 2 spells each turn, he'd be drawing a lot of cards off that Jori Rune Diver, but he's been trying to transform Chandra there. Looks like we're going to have to take 4 again, but I mean, that's a lot of damage, but that's okay. Ooh, a Harsh Mentor. That does 2 damage for effects that are triggered, your own triggered effects. Hey, Fevered Visions is a nice one. And the opponent shut down my my Niblis of Frost, but that doesn't really matter because he can't attack or block anymore. But I mean, the freeze effect still happens for any spell I play. So even though he's shut down, I'll still be able to tap enemy creatures for 2 turns. So yeah, my ally's kind of got a mana problem over there. He needs another blue, so he's going to try to draw into it. Playing Grip of the Royale for 2 mana for its surge cost, and hopefully he can draw into another blue source. Deciding which creature to tap down. Ooh, there, you got a blue source, except it's tapped, sadly. But he could still play Brute Strength and play another card, or draw another card, I mean, off the Ruin Diver. Oh, and he should have tapped Chandra there, but he didn't. And he's not planning to attack with anything, so that's why he went ahead and did the Brute Strength on my creature, since I have a flying creature and I have a good attack here. But yeah, he could have pinged 1 extra damage from Chandra there. We'll see if that matters, but it probably isn't going to matter in the scheme of things. But yeah, he could have done that twice. Although, yeah, that's a triggered ability, so we're taking damage by doing that. So maybe he planned it that way. Just doing it once. Because yeah, every time that's a triggered ability, and the Harsh Mentor does 2 damage when you do a triggered ability like that. And yeah, the opponent does have some decent attacks here. Not sure if he has a trick. But we're going to go ahead and make some blocks here. Just let the 4-3 through. Hopefully we won't lose our creatures. Ooh, God. It's always scary. 3-6, double strike, indestructible. Uh-oh, he's probably going to sacrifice his 3-2 to kill Chandra. That's too bad. But honestly, I think the Docent of Perfection is a better creature to keep. So I want to play my Grip of the Royal here, I think. So I'll have Wild Boar play his Thing in the Ice first. That way I can pay this. I can do the surge cost on this and tap down that 3-6 double strike God, and we can freeze the 4-3, tapping 2 things down. And I'm going to play Geist Blast from the graveyard and copy this card, and I'll tap something else down. I think I'll tap the 4-3 again. That way it won't be attacking us. I'll make a wizard. Of course, a lot of prowess triggers going on here. So 3 creatures are all tapped down for 2 turns. And let's see what Wild Boar does. He's going to go ahead and pay the surge cost and draw 2. And since that's the second spell he's played, he gets to also draw off of the Jori Rune Diver. So yeah, a lot of really cool things happening. Oh, and he can still play the Containment Membrane for a single blue if he wants. Might as well go ahead and get some damage in, since most of his creatures are frozen and they won't be untapping next turn. But yeah, he could have played, he may want to hold on to it and trigger his Jori Rune Diver again next turn. That's probably why he held on to it. Uh-oh. Dusk. Destroying all creatures with power 3 or greater. Of course, it didn't destroy the 3-6 because it's indestructible. But I'll just get another Niblis of Frost out there. And now Wild Boar can play his Containment Membrane for just a single blue instead of for 3 mana. Let me go ahead and kill this 2-2 and make sure to keep the 3-6 tapped down. And I'll make another wizard. Oh no, I guess I lost my Docent of Perfection. Forgot about that. And now for his surge cost. It's a great value there, single mana, so that 3-6 is now tapped permanently. So the opponent won't be able to use it anymore at all. And by playing a second spell, he gets to draw a card. And once again, you know, he could save some of his cards, but he's going to go ahead and cut. And yeah, the opponent doesn't have much left, and in fact, he's pretty much dead here because we have 5 damage on board. So yeah, if Wild Boar plays that card, he's guaranteed dead. But we're gonna go ahead and give the opponent one last turn here. We often like just to see kind of what the opponent would do if we gave them an extra draw step. So okay, he created a 1/1 token to take out my 1/1 wizard. So actually he wasn't dead on board. Well, technically if we had attacked, but yeah, he was dead on board with the Titan's strength. But we'll just, for fun, do one extra turn here. We never drag it out, but I do like to see what the opponent would do if they had one extra turn to live. But yeah, it looks like he just played a creature out and he's given up. So this game is over, and we'll go ahead and finish him off here. Go ahead and pop Jace out here, not that it matters. Once again, prowess triggers. And then Wild Boar can play his Grip of the Royal for its surge cost. Oh, and he's gonna transform his Thing in the Ice here too, even. So let me do Jace real quick before all that happens. Oh, and I get my own Thing in the Ice. Keep that on top. But yeah, if he played a second spell, his Thing in the Ice would transform and all the creatures would go back to hand, so we're just going to attack here. I'll play my own Titan. We'll go ahead and tap this 3-2 again, just because. Get more prowess triggers, and yeah, super dead. Don't really need that, but hey. And there you have it. And there was a lot of other cool things we could have done that turn. Wild Boar could have played another spell. He would have drawn a card and transformed his Thing in the Ice, and that would have finished the game as well. But that's it for the Surge deck. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. And definitely try this one out. This one is really fun in Two-Headed Giant. It's one of our favorites. And it's great if you and your teammate both play the same deck. It's just really powerful. So hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you on the next one. Mata ne.